We do know. Now, okay, so we clear what we're holding so far? Now, I want to now explode one of the great myths that you hear in yeshiva. Okay, ready? Jewish people never proselytized. Wrong. Proselytize is to openly seek conversions. During the first couple of centuries, before and after the Common Era, we have a tremendous amount of Jewish proselytization going on. Meaning Jews actively seeking Gentile converts. Now, by the way, I want to distinguish clearly. Nowhere in Torah does it say you should proselytize, nor did the rabbis ever condone it. But there were certainly numerous personalities in the Jewish world who were actively involved in trying to bring the pagan world to monotheism. Most famous of all, anyone know? Philo Judaeus, who lived 2,000 years ago in Alexandria. He's one of the most prolific writers in the ancient world. Philo means lover, Judaeus, Jew. Okay? Philo is not like some assimilated Jewish guy writing propaganda. Philo, I would say, is probably closer to like a modern Orthodox Jew of the ancient world. He was into Hellenistic culture, the modern world, but he was extremely proud of being Jewish, and he lived in the most cultured city in the world, Alexandria in Egypt. Philo is constantly, and he had a huge following amongst the non-Jewish world. And Jews don't read Philo. Non-Jews absolutely went berserk over this guy. They devoured everything he wrote. His whole message was, look guys, get with the program. We Jews have the vision for humanity. The whole world should unite and keep Torah, and the world will be a better place. We have clear records in Roman law of Jews being expelled from Rome for proselytizing. While Romans would tolerate Jews, Romans would definitely tolerate Jews practicing their religion, they did not tolerate Jews trying to get Gentiles to become Jewish. Okay? And Jews were expelled from Rome because of that. At least during the reign of Tiberius it happened. It happened at a previous period of time to that. So there's a lot of interest in Judaism. There were more than enough Jews actively going around, pushing the Greco-Roman world to be interested in Judaism. And what's the consequence? We know for a fact that there were thousands upon thousands upon thousands of Gentiles who were keeping to some level Torah. Okay, the New Testament, which mentions these people, very interesting, calls them the God-fearers. Okay, when I say keeping Torah, they didn't go through a formal conversion process to become Jewish. But so bad was the situation that Seneca, the Roman historian, writes, and I quote, "The customs of this accursed people have become so prevalent, the vanquished have given their laws to the victors." This is after the Great Revolt, Seneca. He says, Judaism has become such a popular religion that, you look out, Friday night, you look out on the city of Rome, and half the houses, no one's, making a barbecue outside. Because there's thousands of Roman pagans keeping Shabbos and eating kosher. Like the butcher suddenly can't keep up with the demand. All the Gentiles want, kosher hot dogs. Remember the Hebrew National commercial? We have to answer to a higher authority. It wasn't just because it was health food. It's healthier, Jewish kosher meat. It's because they wanted to connect to God by keeping Torah. It's very interesting. Okay, very interesting. So we know for a fact this is the reality. A huge interest, a huge positive interest in Judaism. We have all kinds of cases of people converting. According to Jewish tradition, who's the most famous convert just about in Jewish history from this period of time? He wrote a very famous translation of the Bible into Aramaic. Onkelos Hager, who according to tradition is Nero's nephew. According to historians say, Pompeia, Nero's wife, converted to Judaism. There are even Jewish sources who say that Nero himself could have converted. Okay, you can't prove that. Edmonton Street, Hellenic Hamalka Street in Jerusalem. There's a place called, there was a kingdom of Abedin, and I'm not pronouncing exactly right, where the king and his queen convert to Judaism, and a lot of the people in the king, and a lot of the whole kingdom, a lot of them follow along with it. Hellenic Hamalka is named after her. She goes and brings gifts to the temple and everything. Okay, I'm not pronouncing it right. It's something Abedin, I can never pronounce it correctly. But we see that it obviously, and the appeal was not with the lower classes. The appeal was specifically with better educated, upper class people who were more attracted. Just as today we see people who are into alternative religions overwhelmingly come from better educated people. Okay, because they're more worldly, they're more exposed, they have more time to be searchers. Yeah?
And the question is wasn't this more dilettantism than real lifestyle?
No, all the indications are that and the indications are clearly from history proves it not to be a fad. It was not something that was cool to do. It was a genuine interest. And we go to the last part of the class now, I'll show you how genuine it was. It's very clear that the interest is overwhelmingly positive and legitimate and not something just that's superficial. Yeah?
So at that time there was a lot of gear and basically a lot of people from
There were definitely, I said, we do have instances of Gerim a lot. Now here's the last part of the riddle to throw in.
What time was this? What year was this?
We're talking about, well, again, this is not 1 year. This is the first couple of centuries of the Common Era. And it's going to decline according to the Roman perception of the Jew. As that gets worse, there's going to be less interest in Judaism because the image of the Jew is going to be that much worse. Now, I said that little line before, roses are reddish, violets are bluish. If it wasn't for Paul, we'd all be Jewish, meaning the whole Roman world would become Jewish.